Thank you, Tony. My question is for Mr. Christopher Pyne. Yesterday in the debate, Mr. Abbott said marriage equality was not a priority for the coalition compared to things like cost of living. So my question is, why doesn't the coalition regard marriage equality as a priority? And why won't it commit to a full conscience vote in Parliament if elected?
Well, our position on that... Our position is that this election is about really four main things. It's about relieving the cost of living burden, it's about job security, it's about border security, and it's about good economic management. That doesn't mean that we can't discuss a whole lot of other issues as well. And marriage equality or same-sex marriage is one of those issues that's obviously going to be debated in this election, much more so than it was in the last election or even the election before that. But when Tony Abbott said it wasn't a priority, he meant that in this election, the most important issue facing the country is the economy and the future for Australia in an economic sense in terms of debt and deficit. In the last Parliament, in the one we were still slightly in, about a year ago, this vote was put to the House and it was defeated 2-1. Now, if something's defeated, it's not useful to put it up over and over and over again.
Can I just make the point? Christopher, can I just make the point? Because Christine Abbott has said that she may be changing her brother's mind on this, and that he was actually rather conflicted about voting against gay marriage on that occasion that you're talking about. So could it change? The question was...
Could change.
Would you consider moving to having a conscience vote?
Well, what Tony Abbott has said, and he's the leader of the party, is that in the next Parliament, if this matter comes up again, the Coalition Party will consider it again, and we might well decide to have a conscience vote on the matter. We might well decide to make it a free vote, and if so, the cards will fall where they fall. My view is that if there was a civil unions bill that had been put in the last Parliament, it would have passed. And it would have passed very easily. And if a civil unions bill is put at any point in the future, I think that will pass. I think the issue with same-sex marriage is the issue of what happens with the churches with respect to being forced to marry same-sex couples and how to manage that. Now,
all the legislation that was before Parliament, including my bill, made it very clear that churches wouldn't be obliged to do anyone. I mean, believe it or not, as MPs, we were able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Given how extensively this has been debated, we could put this bill to a vote and get it over and done with. And I think that's actually what people want, like for Australia to actually remove discrimination from its marriage laws and move on. And I've always said, you know, love will find a way, and that is what is happening. And I think it is a very good thing that the Prime Minister of the country now comes out in support of it. That will help us get there. What we now need to do is bring more members of Parliament from across the political spectrum along. And I know that there are members of the coalition who want to vote in support of my bill to remove discrimination from the marriage laws. They need to be allowed to do it. But what it will mean is that in the next Parliament, the only way we're going to get reform, because Labor's conflicted on it, because the coalition's conflicted on it, is by people across political parties working together. If we do that, I reckon we can get it done very soon.
Penny Wong.
First to the question that Oliver asked, I think you can talk about jobs and the economy and also talk about equality. And Australia's always done that. I mean, we have, as a nation, moved more consistently towards greater equality. I think it's a wonderful thing. We have a Prime Minister who's not only prepared to support it, but has said he will ensure a bill is brought in, because you do need to have that kind of leadership to bring the Parliament to a place where we can do what we should do, which is to reflect the principle of equality more broadly. The issue of churches is a furphy. The bill that was voted on was, and I think it was a I thought it was a Labor bill actually, but we'll have that discussion another time. In fact, did say, and this is the position, churches don't have to recognise through ceremony relationships that don't accord with their teaching. That's a matter for them. The issue here is, what does the secular state do? What does the secular state do, and whether or not we think particular religious beliefs, that we respect, should be imposed on the secular society and on the state. I don't think that they should, and I'm really pleased that the Prime Minister has made the
I'm going to get brief comments from the other side. Janet, you changed your opinion on this subject. I'm pretty sure you announced that the last time you were on the show. Do you think Tony Abbott will move, perhaps under the influence of his sister Christine?
I think it's an issue, Tony, that where a lot of people are wrestling with it, have wrestled with it, are wrestling with it. We don't all describe it in sort of grandiose terms of a journey as Kevin Rudd has done, but, you know, we are wrestling with it. And, but having said that, you know, just look at this program tonight and look at the debate last night. The biggest issues that were discussed first were about jobs and economy and the economy. So, yes, gay marriage is an important issue, but I think Tony Abbott is absolutely right to say it's not the most important issue for many, many people.
But
for some people, it is. Of course, I'm about to say that, Penny. No, I understand that completely. It's very, very important, and it's the critical issue for some people, but it's not the critical issue for many others. And so, for it to be up there as number one issue, you know, that's not going to happen right now. It's certainly not going to happen when the economy is facing serious threats. I think it will happen because I think a lot of people are changing their mind on this, and, you know, Tony Abbott may well be one of those people who changes his mind. But, you know, it's something that happens slowly, incrementally. Bring people with you in this debate. That's always been my argument. It was my comment last time was take people with you in this debate. Don't describe them as bigots if they have a different view.
OK, Rhys Muldoon, briefly, but Kevin Rudd changed his mind on this issue in a significant way. Were you surprised?
Mildly, except that I know Jessica Rudd very well and I know how persistent she is. And she was in his ear very, well, not with Jessica, but with Kevin, yeah. But his family, they have a very...
Christopher? Jessica. Sorry.
Leave them alone, Chris. Give
you're
them
just
a
so
break.
close, you're so close.
Don't you like the close to liberals? It's making it nervous being between me and Janet.
I could just smell Murdoch's sweat coming off you. No, I think on this particular topic, of course, I thought it was very interesting that Kevin Rudd did change position because very much a Christian believer and all that sort of stuff, and Jess was very much in his ear, and he did move position on it. But I also think one of the things is it's not going to cost much. Just do it. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's not like when you're talking about, like, we're talking about the economy or this or that, to just sort of go tick gay marriage is not going to cost the economy much. Surely we agree on that.
Wouldn't cost very much, no.
No. It was so... Looking forward to the Murdoch papers getting right behind it tomorrow.
Let's move.